Welcome to another edition of a Union County Conversation, a show that helps you understand Union County government and its services. I'm your host, Meg McElwain. Today we will discuss the report that has come out from the state of North Carolina. It's a report that follows a review of the child welfare services for Union County that was done in November 2014. The state has been following the Union County Department of Social Services very closely. They've been working in conjunction to change some of the procedures so that the department can make sure that they are protecting residents and serving residents well. Joining me
in January of 2014, the state gave us a plan. We met with the state and they provided us with a plan of areas that we need to address and to fix at that current time. During the months of January through our last review of November of 2014, Ms. Cowan and I worked together through our quality assurance program to develop a plan to set in place for Union County Division of Social Services in the child welfare system. In that plan, we looked at 7 key principles of what was addressed within the state review. And that's kind of where that came from with the second review.
So what were the 7 principles that the state used?
Okay, we have a list of them right here with Ms. Cowan and myself. The first one was agency leadership. What they wanted us to do is look at who we had in place. Did we have folks within the right positions? Were they able to provide the right direction for our employees that we have at the current time? And some of those answers to those questions were no. So we had to take a look at our leadership and make some changes and to make sure that we had some folks that interviewed for that position and were able to come in and give the proper guidance to our agency within that area.
The second one was to implement a quality assurance program. We had never had that level of supervision or oversight on our child protective services. So that's when I came on board, and we again partnered with the state in devising a tool to review our cases. That really helped us to focus in on were we thoroughly assessing risk to children and providing those needed services. So that became a measurable tool of quality, which we had never had before.
And so number 3 was the intake process for child protective services.
Yes, during our first review that happened in November of 2014, or January 2014, we worked with the state and they recognized in our intake process that we did not have enough folks that were there to be able to take the information when we had call-ins of people calling in to report abuse within our community. From that report, we went from 2 individuals within that area to 5 with a supervisor over the whole intake process.
And so next, I know number 4 was the timing and thoroughness of the child protective services assessments. So tell me what the report said in that area.
Again, we weren't closing out our cases in a timely fashion, or we weren't doing the complete assessment of really undercover work. So we put in different layers of supervision. So the supervisors were using the same QA tool that quality assurance was using, and those extra set of eyes and again looking at specific details of the case kept things in an accountable manner so that we were able to really show some positive results that we were assessing safety in a thorough process.
And with the assessments in the past, they weren't as thorough. We brought in, with our state partnership, we brought in some training for our folks, and there was multiple trainings that happened with our state rep, with Ms. Cowan when she was in our quality assurance program, and it was a learning tool. So we will make sure that we were all on the same page of how we're documenting our assessments.
And I think that's important because it needs to be the same across the board, and that's what it sounds like this program you have implemented. So the fifth of the 7 focus areas was outcomes of child protective service assessments. So what can you tell us about that?
Well, again, with the state consultant that we had at the time, we really looked at we have 4 questions that need to be answered at the end of every assessment. And like Ray mentioned, we weren't doing that consistently across our 3 units. And so we focused in on, does the documentation support the answers to those 4 questions? And at that point, you base your decision. So again, it brought us to a more consistent manner of doing business.
Can you tell us what those 4 questions are? Or are they something that typically is just kept within the department?
No, it's part of the
State policy.
state policy and procedures on a form that's called the 5010.
Oh, I got you. So it's something that's set by the state.
Yes.
So the 6th was, the 6th of the 7 focus areas was supervision of frontline staff.
Yes, what we also found out throughout the report of working with the state was our frontline staff were not getting correct supervision, consistent supervision. So what we did again with the supervisors is we had them go through some trainings of how to correctly provide supervision. We also had a consultant come in by the name of Chuck Harris, who worked individually with each of our supervisors, sat in their sessions, provided them feedback and guidance of how to do and complete proper supervision. Also, Ms. Cowan provided our supervisors with a supervisory tool. So when they were going through their cases, from the beginning of a case towards the end of the case, there would be a checklist of what needed to be covered from the very beginning until the very end. So supervisors are aware now of every aspect of that case. They're thoroughly involved with it, and they're able to give guidance to each of the frontline workers, so they're not feeling like they're left on their own.
Right.
And our supervisors can now answer the questions for them.
And then the 7th item that the report included was conflict of interest protocols. So can you speak to that?
Sure. Originally, the conflict of interest, there wasn't a protocol. It was that it was handled, assigned to a worker like any other case. And what we did is we recognized that we needed to really tighten our confidentiality on those cases and people's access to those cases, even if they work within the agency. So we decided that those cases would be housed under the administrative assistant to the director and the administrator, and most of the communication on those cases is handled through that person. Again, the less people handling those cases, the tighter our confidentiality we can adhere to.
Right. So tell me about some of the key findings and observations that were included in the report.
Some of the key findings and observations are basically the 7 areas that we just touched on. And the way that we address each one of those areas is that we went in and every aspect from the beginning, when we had a consumer walk through the door or a call came through our intake, we started with our intake process and we tweaked it, we added to it. We are making sure that our intake folks are the ones that are taking the calls on the weekends, whether to screen in or screen out, for helping assist our frontline workers that are not familiar with how to screen in and screen out an intake call. We've also added 2 social workers to make sure that we are catching the overflow and that our frontline workers are not becoming overwhelmed or burnt out. Mm-hmm. We are making sure that we are sticking to state policy of the size of caseloads that we should have for our folks. We are making sure that supervisors are directly involved with each one of their frontline workers and that there's protected time, that they're staffing these cases with them. So every area that we just discussed are also the ways that we've already improved. Mm-hmm. And we have a state plan that we developed together with the state in a partnership, and we call that our Bible here now at Union County. And every new person that comes through our door, they'll go through our quality assurance program. We do now have a floater position through quality assurance, and this person will work with all new social workers that come through the door and provide them the feedback, the guidance, how we do it in Union County. They will also give them support within the field. They will shadow them. They will come back with them and help them complete their documentation. So it is thorough, and our assessments are completed correctly. That's important.
That is very important. Mm-hmm. So how do you feel, what do you feel the next steps for the partnership with the state And now that the state has come back with this report, what are the next steps?
We really want to expand quality assurance. So we've been talking a lot about financially, where can we get that balance, and how can we improve? Again, the more people reviewing cases, the better. So that is something that we've really been working on together to expand quality assurance.
And that goes with our REAP program, which is Reaching Excellence through Accountability and Practices. And by having a quality assurance program, not just within child welfare services, but also over economic services, expanding those areas are going to make sure that we are doing quality work throughout the whole entire agency. And folks can see this agency as a whole, because child welfare services touches economic services, and economic services touches child welfare services. So when we're all working together and we're all working from the same plan that we developed, we're going to see a lot of improvement and progress over the years in a united front.
Well, and I think that based on the state's report and the fact that you all partnered with the state has used a lot of what you all developed as a model for other counties in North Carolina. That speaks volumes about the progress that has been made since the unfortunate incident at the end of 2013. I think that this department has experienced some turnover for a variety of reasons, because there has been a lot of change within the department, but it is change for the good. And so I hope that you at home feel comfortable and confident in the services that the Department of Social Services and Department of Human Services are providing to the residents of Union County. I hope you've learned as much as I have, and please make it a great day in Union County.